Take it away.
Okay, recording. We are live. All right, so there's been one or two interesting things that have happened in the real estate industry in the last week, right? Nothing like a lawsuit to make it exciting. Anybody want to? I have some thoughts, but I wanted to throw it out to the group first. The subject for this is around how do we really thrive during the holidays? How do we work with our database? How do we really make a powerful next 2.5 months something powerful for our business, especially in this market? And the reality is there's been a major lawsuit in the last couple days. So wanted to make sure we clear that piece out and not ignore that, and make sure. And does anybody have any things they want to discuss or any research they've done, or I'm happy to give my perspective on it. So jump in.
I'd actually like if you could kind of talk about the whole, like how this came to be, a little bit more of the basics for it, the lawsuit.
Yeah, I haven't read a lot of the where it came to be, or who. I mean, again, we're the most litigious country in the world, so so it's there's always something for Selena. Do you have background on it, on how it came to be, how it originally was started and filed?
We were just talking about it on our workman call. I mean, there's a lot involved there about all of that. Oh, sorry. Pause 1 second. Carry on for 1 second. I just got to take care of something.
Okay. So here's I'm going to give my perspective, not from where we are today. So some of you may know I worked in the mortgage industry for 6 years. I worked for a mortgage company of a large, it was Prospect Mortgage, then got bought out by Homebridge Financial. And in the middle of that was when Dodd-Frank all happened. And there was a lawsuit, same kind of deal. And so essentially what happened in the mortgage industry, it feels like, and it doesn't make it true, it feels like to me this is what is happening with the real estate industry. And what I really want you guys to focus on right now, and you think about loan officers that you've worked with for 20 years, do they still do a great job? How they get paid is different. There are certain rules and laws that had to be followed post Dodd-Frank. So what we do as realtors is going to remain the same. How commissions are worked out, how some of the how piece of it, it will likely be shifting. The what we do is still the same. We still help guide people through purchasing or selling the largest financial investment of their life, which is their home. And so we want to make sure that we are still focusing on the basics of running a real estate business. And the how piece and some of how these other things are going to shake out is different. Michelle, I see your hands raised.
Good morning. For those of us that are with EXP, and I know there's people on from different brokerages, but we do have a leadership meeting every Friday morning at 8. And that was really 8, yeah, Pacific time. That was great this morning, and it talked a lot about this subject, and it is on YouTube, so you can go back and review that. There was a lot of great advice on how to present the buyer broker agreement, which my team, we've been working on that for the last 3 weeks, knowing this was coming and just getting brushed up on that buyer broker agreement. So I would just recommend going and tapping into that YouTube if you were not on that call this morning. It was really good. And that'll answer a lot of the questions that people might have, how to move forward when it comes to the commission.
Okay, awesome. Is it an EXP YouTube channel?
Yeah, it's I could probably get the link.
Okay,
And,
if you want to post it in the chat so people can take a look at it. And it's and I know a couple different brokerages are doing some of the same thing. And I know buyer broker agreements are different in every state. And it's just a good idea to start using them. Is that what is overall the message you got as well this morning?
It was, and in our particular area where we're located here in California, it's just not the norm. And so, like I said, about 3-4 weeks ago, we decided that even though it's not the norm, we need to get ahead of it. And so we've been going through it. And so we'll be doing some role play on it. so that we were ahead of the game because we saw it coming. So we're gonna start implementing it, regardless if anyone else in the area does, but it's how you present the value and how you present it to the buyer. And that's where this call today was really helpful. So I'll let me look for the link and I'll post it.
Okay, thanks, Michelle. Anybody from anybody either else on the call or I've been on other calls around this? I know you said, Selena, you were on a workman call. Can you get a chance to share a little bit about what you guys were discussing as coaches from a coaching perspective?
Yeah, I mean, we were chatting this morning about, that obviously we had everybody from every brokerage on that call this morning, and we all span everything. And, some people were involved in that lawsuit, some were not, some settled, some, were not named in it. A lot is going to go, and some new lawsuits are being filed right now, like as soon as this happened. So it's going to change a lot of things, but at the end of the day, what's going to happen as buyers agents or buyer brokers, you're just going to need to show that you're doing the work more so than anything, right? So there's been conversation in the past about, different places in the past. Like I used to work in New York. We required on our team that there be a buyer agency agreement in place, and that we have a buyer loyalty agreement in place. And that was something that when we worked with agents, when we worked with buyers, that was in place so that even if there was nothing offered out to a buyer agent on a listing, that it said that if a seller was not offering it out, that the buyer had to pay that fee. And everyone was like, why would you require that? Well, because it could happen, so, and then when I came to California, no one was getting those signed, and it blew my mind. And they were like, oh, we don't do that because it's always paid. And there was a reason for that. And it was because that loyalty agreement was in place, because in New York, that could happen. There was no fee offered out on some things, right? And we just always had it in place, and we never had a problem in New York getting that signed because our clients knew that we offered so much service and so much to them that they had no problem paying it. So if you do an incredible job and you offer so much service and you show that to your client, they have no problem paying it. So for me, when this comes about right now, I'm like, I don't have a problem because I do a great job, and it doesn't really faze me. For people who don't feel confident in that, I can kind of see why maybe they've got some concerns. So it's just going to be a very interesting time. And I think it's about whether or not you have concerns about your service, or you have concerns about how, hang on, let me let some people in. I'm sorry, I'm seeing people still pop in. And I think it's also most of the time right now, the people who say, Selena, I don't feel comfortable asking for that. It's about how you say it. It's very interesting to me that people have no problem sitting in a listing appointment and having that conversation about asking for commission and showing what they offer to earn that commission. But as a buyer's agent, they do. It's the same conversation that I have. I'm like, do you sit on the hood of your car and ask for a listing commission? Like a lot of buyer's agents currently do when it's time to get that sign. They sit on the hood of their car when it's time to get that little buyer agency thing. And I'm like, no, you go in and you sit in and you give a listing presentation and you do this professional, whole thing. It's about your confidence. It's about how you present yourself as a professional. And very interesting how people have two sides of this story. And if we just all operated as professionals and we all did all of these things the way that we have always been trained to do them, and we continue to do it that way, I think it would be fine. I think we'll all be fine. Just operate the way we should all be operating. Full disclosure, 100% of the time, all the time, and don't be afraid of it. We'll all be fine. I think we'll be fine. Go ahead, Paul. You have something.
I am not able to read the chat. Selena, can you read that?
It says, has anyone seen pushback from the buyers because it's not been the norm?
So back to what you were saying, Selena, there's pushback from the buyer, Debbie, in the sense of if we're unable to articulate our value and present our value, if we can't say what it is, then the consumer has no idea what they're paying for. So Do you know what your value is? Can you articulate that and present it to a client and create the agreement to say, this is how we move together, how we work together. Technically, that should be on your very first arrangement with the buyer, just like a seller. And it's explaining how compensation happens. And as an example, there's a gentleman out of Virginia that has a fairly sizable team. And every one of his buyer's agents, they're young, they just haven't had an objection to any of this. When they sit with their buyer for the first time, they present the buyer's rep agreement. They specifically say the value of our services is 3%, and they list why that is so, and that traditionally a seller will offset by offering from the seller's compensation, a settlement, that the seller would offer commission that would offset that 3%. If there's a gap, then that's going to become part of the buyer's closing cost, unless we can find a way to negotiate that out throughout the transaction, which I'm more than willing to go there so that you don't have extra costs coming to you. They have never ever lost a client on that conversation. And they always get their 3% unless something in the process allows it to change to bring it down, right? So it's our inability and comfort level of saying, what do I do as an agent for you? And if we focus on what we have control over, which is that, and what we don't have control over, which is this lawsuit, what we have control over is what we do and how we present ourselves and what we know and how we move forward. So that's the activities. The lawsuit's going to be what it is. It's going to play out what it is. We're going to learn the name of the game. I don't believe, I agree with Selena, if we practice a high level of standard, it's not going to be an issue for us. And if we have to change how we do something, we will, or we won't. It's going to be one way or the other.
Right.
So you get to choose. You get to choose then how you wish to play this game. And it doesn't impact us today. It's going to go through appeals. I don't know exactly what's going to come out of this, and it's probably going to be months, if not years, before we have some definitive outcome of this. But today it's operating in high standards, which is what it's all about. Operate at your highest standard, articulate your value, and in absence of value, price becomes the objective. Always.
Yep. Always. I've always believed that you list buyers as much as you list sellers. And now we just have that mindset that a listing appointment is listing buyers and sellers, and having them sign an agreement. And the same, it's a very, very similar process when you do a listing presentation for a buyer as much as you do a listing presentation for a seller. And to your point, Paul, we're months, if not years away. And if you ever have insomnia, go get the Dodd-Frank, procedures. And if you read them, you will be asleep in under 2 minutes. And it reads like the tax code. It's horrible. And it's clear as mud. And it's still something that is constantly being worked out on the mortgage side of the business. And I think it's good. I like that, Michelle brought up, getting ahead of the game, just getting really, really comfortable as to what our value proposition is. And it's like riding a unicycle. We've been riding a bicycle. Now we got to ride a unicycle. How do I do this? Well, you practice and finding people in this community right here that's like, hey, I want to practice my buyer listing presentation, and reaching out to people in this community. They're like, what are you doing? This is what I'm doing, and sharing ideas back and forth. And then iron sharpens iron. It's how we get better. And it's only for the cool kids who want to get better, right? Just the cool kids that we want us to get better this year. That was a joke. It was kind of funny.
Well, it's fascinating to me because, everyone's in a panic mode. And for me, I was like, this was status quo. I ran a team of 16 agents, and I didn't allow them to show houses without that buyer loyalty agreement. Like, they were allowed to show one time without it, one house, one time. And that was it. And then after that, they had to have it. Like, that was it. Like, as a team leader, I was like, you can do it one time. After that, peace out. Because otherwise it was a waste of their time and energy. And that was a rule on our team, because that I felt like they were being used and abused. Like, that was it, because people would just kick them use them to show houses. And I'm like, outside of that, you're showing houses and you might not get paid. Like, that was a requirement, guys, because that's how we operated the team, because we were professionals. Like, that was a standard. You don't show a house without it. And like, so to see it now where it's not a standard, I'm like, to me, this is so unusual. And so now when this happened, I was like, oh, okay. Like, and everyone else is in a panic. And I'm like, this is awesome. Let's go do it.
The agreement is the standard.
Yes.
Your commission negotiation can be whatever you want it to be. It's what you and the consumer determine. There's no standard in that one. But
No.
the
Standard
agreement is
procedure.
Yeah.
standard
Yeah.
procedure, the operating procedure is to have the agreement. But your commission structure can be whatever you choose it to
Yeah.
be negotiated with that client. It's
Yeah.
not a standard.
Yeah, and ours was, I mean, we had a very specific amount, and it was, you know, I had an agent on the team who had difficulty, feeling like she knew what she was worth, right? And she was like, what, she would always lower it, always accept less. And so I made her get to the point where she had to actually, guys, and if you have that same struggle, about lowering your commission, even on the buy side, and agreeing to take what little amount someone might offer out, I'm going to make you do the same thing. I made her change the background on her phone that said, I am worth 3%. And it said it on the background of her phone, and I made her put it in her car, and I made her put it on the background to her laptop, and I made her print it. I printed her beautiful backgrounds, and I made her put it everywhere. And it said, I'm worth 3%. And it was like on her mirror, on her bathroom, and everything. Because that's what I made her put in her contract on her buyer agreement. I am worth 3%. I am worth 3%. I am worth 3%, because she kept accepting less. So sometimes you've got to like put those affirmations everywhere. So that, because she kept leaving it blank, and she kept letting the buyers fill in whatever she was willing to accept. And I was like, negative ghostwriter.
It's a good exercise to write down what you do with buyers and with sellers, because if the only perception that our clients have or is that what they see from Modern Family, if they think we're Phil, and that's what they see that we do as realtors, they're not going to understand the different value. And that, you know, and so it's important to tell people what we're doing throughout the process, and also up front, these are all the things that I do for you doing this. And I always remind people, look, there's a legal perspective, there's a legal piece of what we do. We have errors and omissions insurance, right? We can help you through this process, and buyers sue sellers. That's how that works. That would, if I know the California real estate contract is ridiculously large because of lawsuits. And so, and 95% of them are buyers suing sellers. So let's make sure that we have errors and omissions insurance and these other legal protections for you outside of all these tasks that I'm going to do. But I'm going to protect you legally, I'm going to protect you financially, and I'm going to protect your dreams and needs for this next purchase or sale or what have you. So making a list of that, because I think there's a lot of us that I talk to on a regular basis that are coaching clients that are just like, it's just autopilot. It's just, this is just what I do. They just don't realize that every single one of those things has value. And I know that's true for every single one of you on this call as well. There are so many amazing and magical things that you do for your clients that you're not even aware are special. And they are. And so as you're going through your process with your clients you're currently in contract with, people that you are currently showing property with them, that you're in a pre-listing conversation with them, just keep a little journal, a voice note, something that you just pay attention to what you're doing so that you can really demonstrate your value. Because I think as we discuss any sort of fee, I mean, there's people on this call that we do speaking fees, and I struggle sometimes of how much to charge. And it's like, okay, what's the impact? What's the value that I bring as a speaker? And what's the impact? And what have I been told from past clients and that I brought value? So those same things apply for any sort of, when you charge anything for any sort of service, whether you're a mentor, whether it's a commission, whether it's a speaking fee, that understanding the impact of what you provide and the value that has a giant ripple effect is what we're really talking about. And just start paying attention to that, because it is a pretty cool exercise to make a list of why I'm awesome. And this is one thing we talked about 2 weeks ago about Rick, because Rick could always see the awesome in all of us. Let's help ourselves see that for ourselves, of what's the awesome in each of us. And that's important when you're talking about worthiness and value, right? Can we move on to the holidays? Are we good? We beat that dead horse? There's only going to be like 3,000, classes, videos, discussions, Monday morning quarterbacking around a lot of this stuff. So at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what our commission structure looks like if we don't have any clients. Yes? Yes? Okay. So for those of you that are hearing me for the first time, I've been selling since I was 6 years old. I went to Catholic school, been knocking on doors since I was 6 years old. And I believe very strongly that everything in our free market economy is a sale, that nothing happens in our economy, in our US economy, without a transaction happening first. And then other people have jobs and industries, and because there is a trade. And so selling is a really important part of what we do. And a lot of times I tell people, I said, look, if you were to buy a pizzeria and open up the pizzeria and you made the best pizzas in town and nobody ever came to buy your pizza, how long is your pizzeria going to stay open? So you may be the best, you are, and you're all on this call because you're amazing and fantastic, and you're investing your time and energy into this call. So I know you're already doing this. And so what I want to talk to you about, lead generating during the holidays, is because there's a lot of people in our industry that take off the rest of the year. I know as somebody, I'm a recruiter, I've been a recruiter since 2006. And I would call agents this time, you're like, you know what, it's the holidays, I'm going to get back to work in January. And what that tells me is they don't want to get paid until April. And so it's easy to get sucked into that with friends and associates and that language of it's the holidays. The holidays starts for some realtors at Halloween. Now, me personally, when I was selling real estate, this was always my busiest time of year because I was like, this was fun. I went out. So what I want to talk to you guys about it, and so be thinking, I'm going to share with you some thoughts around how to double or triple your database during the holidays, is also an opportunity to get listings and to get buyer relationships at this time of year, because everybody else is taking their foot off the gas, and this is your time to capture. This is your time to do that. So from now until about the first week of January, you are probably all going to be invited to anywhere between 10 to 12 parties, right? Parties. Go to industry parties, go to the Chamber of Commerce parties, go to open houses, have a party, but go. And be be festive. Be that person who wears the ugly Christmas sweater, like for the entire month of December. Wear an ugly Thanksgiving sweater. But the idea is that getting people to come and approach you because it's the holidays, and people do pie parties this time of year for Thanksgiving, and then the December has lots of different holidays to be celebrated, and then into the New Year, New Year's Eve. I know some realtors that do a New Year's Day open house and invite to come. Now, make your open houses from now through New Year's Day. Make your open houses a party. Have a Thanksgiving theme. Have a pie taste testing. Have it be fun and festive around whatever holiday you choose to celebrate between now and New Year's Day. And heck, you can even do it through January 6th, which is the Epiphany, and that's when a lot of Europeans celebrate Christmas and do gift giving. So keep the holidays going. I'm saying plug into it. And I'm not saying that you're like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to go to my neighbor's party and be wearing, my I'm a realtor t-shirt, because that seems awkward. I just want to go celebrate. And all I'm talking to you about this time of year is people are going to walk up to you, introduce themselves. And I'm saying be purposeful for the first 45 minutes, or pick a number. I'm going to meet 5 new people at this party. And then I'm going to stop being a realtor. I'm going to go put my phone and my business cards in the other room, and I'm just going to go and enjoy the party and the rest of the evening. Fabulous. Have a number. Pick a number. Pick a number of how many new names do you want to add into your database between now and January 6th. And then go to that many parties, and then it just becomes math. I want to add 100 names. I'm going to go to 10 parties. That's 10 people a party. Fine. do the math, figure out how many parties you need to go to, how many new people you're going to meet, and then be approachable everywhere you go. If you're at a coffee shop, your favorite restaurant, happy hour. Do you know how much business is done at happy hour? Right? Especially if you're wearing something festive and fun, and people will come by like, oh my gosh, I love your tie, your scarf, your sweater, yesterday I was at an event and this lady had sparkle boots, right? So, oh my gosh, I love your boots, your glasses. I get that all the time. I wear my bright pink glasses. So the idea is that you're getting people to come and approach you. People are going to come and meet you and talk to you because what is everybody's favorite question this time of year, actually all the time? Selena, what's the favorite question that everybody asks the realtor?
I don't know. I try not to talk to people.
How's the market?
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Michelle. And you guys have heard me on this call before. Rick had me on as a guest, and this is a major soapbox for me. So get ready. If you haven't heard it before, you get to hear it again. How's the market is the international sign for book an appointment. Nobody gives a crap about the market. They have a very specific neighborhood and sometimes house that's important to them. If somebody can Google it, they're not asking you because they can't find out the information. Is it possible to Google how's the market? If I say, I can look, what is the average home price in my town? Can I Google that? Say yes? Nodding, yes, okay, good, thank you. I can Google that. Why is somebody gonna ask me how's the market when they can Google it?
Because they have interest in buying, selling, or know someone that does.
Thank you, Michelle. So
I learned from my coach.
she yells at you. So the idea is that if somebody's asking me how's the market, it is the most personal question that people ask publicly. For most people, their home is their largest financial investment of their lives. Most people meet with their financial advisor, with their other retirement investments, stocks, mutual funds. They meet with them once a year. Let's look, what do we do? Are we allocating the resources properly? They meet with their CPA once a year. Who are they meeting with once a year to discuss the largest financial investment of their life and the largest indicator of generational wealth? Who do they meet with? No one, because we've never asked. Hey, if they're asking how's the market, my answer is always, it depends, which is my favorite answer for all real estate questions, because it's true. It depends. Are you buying, selling, or interested in commercial real estate? Now, I've added commercial real estate to that response because if anybody has ever seen a referral check from a commercial real estate agent, it's a happy day. And it's just to remind them that real estate is not just houses, it's also multi-units or, commercial buildings. We have no idea if somebody's interested in buying a commercial building, but we've got to ask. And then we can connect them with commercial real estate agents, and the referral fees are great. And maybe learn a little something about commercial real estate, which just makes us dangerous enough to get more referrals, which is great. And if somebody if they say buying or selling or commercial real estate, great. Let's set an appointment. Let's set an appointment. Let's set an appointment because you're at a holiday party. You have your Jingle Bells sweater on. You have your big giant turkey tie on. It's fine. You're not going to have that kind of conversation with somebody at a party, at a Starbucks, at happy hour. Oh, awesome. Great. There's a lot of misinformation out there, and it's buying or selling real estate is very personal. So can I come by tomorrow afternoon at 3:00, or is Monday morning better for you? And book an appointment, book an appointment, book an appointment. It doesn't take that long. The other response when I ask that question, if they say they're thinking of buying or selling or commercial, the fourth option is, I'm just curious. Nobody's curious about the market. They have a very specific address in mind. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area. During the summer, San Francisco will be 60 degrees, and 25 miles east, where I grew up in Walnut Creek, it'll be 100 degrees. It's like asking what was the average temperature of the San Francisco Bay Area. It's like asking me what's the average temperature of the country. I don't know. It depends on where you're going to be. So how's the market? I'm just curious. My question is always about where. Is it for your home or somebody else's that you're thinking about? Maybe they have a niece or nephew that just got married. great grandma needs to go to an assisted living facility and they got to sell the house and they're overwhelmed with great grandma's lived in that house for 60 years. You know how much crap is in that house? I'm terrified to even think about it. This happens every day. So they're thinking about the market because of great grandma's house or their niece or nephew or daughter or son, or they just had hip surgery and they haven't been upstairs in 18 months. Should I sell my house because my quality of life is not great? This is the opportunity. People will talk to you. Wear your name badges, wear your shirts that says that you are a real estate agent. I've had people even see, I've seen you say, ask me how's the market. Because they're asking because they need help. You guys are the guides. You're like the best tour guide on the planet to help guide them on understanding real estate. There's so much misinformation out there right now. We all know that. I heard is my least favorite phrase. Well, I heard, or my mom told me, my uncle told me, oh dear God, let's sit down and talk about what's going on with you. But how's the market is the international sign for book an appointment. You're going to book an appointment with them to talk to them about great grandma's house, their niece or nephew, their own home, or they're going to talk about buying or selling. If you, at the very least, say, when's the last time you did an annual mortgage review or had somebody come and give you an update on your largest financial investment, which is your home? Why not come by your house and just basically go in and do a pre-listing appointment? Walk around the house, say, here's some things you could do to maybe add some value to your house that you can get to enjoy for as long as you are still living in the house. If you're not looking to move for 5 years, what if you upgraded all of your hardware in the house? Just got new door handles. Would that be nice? A brand new door handle, like, doesn't cost that much money, but it'd really be nice. Or maybe add baseboards, or maybe you should, here's an idea about replacing some of the carpet, or hey, I've noticed there's a little wood rot going on over here. You might want to have this checked out. Because we all have been to houses that had wood rot damage for 10 years and nobody ever told them. So we're going to go in and tell them about, here's some things that you want to nip in the bud now until so they don't become a problem when you're looking to sell 10 or 15 years from now. Do you think you might get a referral from that? Coming in and talking about their largest financial investment of their lives and how they can protect it and take care of it. Oh, and also enjoy it and have great memories. This is the best time of year to book appointments and sit down with people and talk to them about their largest financial investment of their lives. Anybody who is thinking about buying or selling right now is typically doing it because they have to, not because they want to. There's an urgency. And we need to be quick about it because there's nobody that wakes up in the morning. There's two things. Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, "Ooh, hooray, today's moving day." Said no one ever. It's horrible moving. So what's going on in your life that you are willing to go through the pain of moving to buy or sell? And then secondly, no one says, you know what, I've decided the best time of year to sell my house or buy a new house is in the middle of the holidays. Said no one ever. They're doing it because they have to. Something's going on in their world and we're going to help them and guide them. Greatest tour guide ever of this process. This is what you do. That's why you're amazing at it. Okay, my soapbox is mostly done.
Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey, where is everybody?
I'm here. Speaking of sweatshirts, there was one that I haven't pulled the trigger on buying it. And now that I heard this morning, I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And it says, I take people into your house when you're not home.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
What a conversation starter, right?
That's hilarious. I love it.
Oh, and one more thing about information about all the NAR stuff that's going on. And this is EXP, but there are going to be several classes held next week, and they'll all be in the newsletter that we get on Fridays. So
Cool. Thank you.
Mhm.
Thank you. Has anybody else had really great success working the holidays in an active way in the past? Anybody freaked out by what I said, like, oh dear God, I can't be that person. That scares me.
No, I mean, yes, things, things just slow down just because you get busy doing other things. But my mindset is never like, oh, I'm going to take a break and I'm not going to work for the rest of the year. I mean, I've never had that mindset. Um, December, for the most part, is usually slow. November, definitely, just business as usual. And then you ramp back up in January. But I don't do it on purpose.
Mhm. What we do today shows up in 90 days. So the activity
Yeah.
you start doing today will show up in 90 days.
And that's
So-
a long time to wait for a paycheck. I know I can't wait for a paycheck for 90
Right.
days.
Right. Well, people that I said, the people tell me that, oh, I'm going to wait till January to get to start working on my business. I'm like, that means you're not getting paid until April.
Right.
So
Right.
if that means you're going to wait 5 months. If you're telling me that in November, you're waiting 5 months. Yeah, or blind squirrel finds nut sort of thing. So, it's what I'm saying is this is a way to make the holiday season work for you. I'm a big fan of playing the hand you're dealt. So if this is what is a lot of holiday parties, just be really careful because around who you're spending time with during the holidays and making sure that you're spending time with people that are also working and busy. And I'm not saying work 7 days and 12 hours and go crazy. Enjoy the time like this. I think if nothing else that we've got from the pandemic was learning that our time connecting with people is super valuable. That's what I'm saying. When you go to these events, when you're at the Starbucks or at happy hour or at a cocktail party, like pick a number. How many new names do you want to meet? Maybe it's 2, maybe it's 10. I had an agent one time, she went to a bar and I told her she couldn't have her first drink until she'd exchanged 5 business cards. And so she went in really mad. And so she wasn't really mad. And she said, she walked in the bar and she said, hi, my coach says I can't have my first drink until I've exchanged 5 business cards. And everybody started laughing, like, what do you do? And so she came back the next day and she was mad at me. And she's like, I can't believe you made me do that. And I'm like, what happened? She goes, it took me an hour to get my first drink because everybody wanted to talk to me about real estate. I'm like, oh, how sad for you. and and I'm like, how many leads you get? She's like, 2. I'm like, yeah, terrible use of an hour and a conversation starter. So if you guys want to use me as your coach, because this, is a coaching call, that your coach told you need to meet new people or exchange 5 business cards before you have your first drink, do it. Make me the bad guy. I love being the bad guy. That's why I got the spiky hair to cover my horns. That's why I do it like this. So that was kind of funny. So Selena's laughing. Selena's like, there's truth in there. There's truth. There's actual truth in that. Does that
I think
make
to your
sense?
point, Katie. Yeah, to your point, Katie, is that events are driving revenue always. And so
Always.
we're in event season. And so
Yep.
to go to events is one thing, host your own. So bring people to you, simple things. It could be an apple cider party or, for a little while, whatever that looks like, is it spiked or not spiked, invite people to you to have deeper conversations with. So
Yep.
events always drive revenue. When you host an event, determine what the outcome is going to be. And if I have 50 people at this event, that's a big win. I'm going to invite 350 people. I'll have 50, maybe 40. That's a win.
Yep.
Take that win and then turn it and say, out of those, how many will I move into my next appointment and go with that strategy? Now, I believe, isn't it next Wednesday is the business planning clinic in the San Ramon area there?
Yes.
So if you haven't done your business plan and don't have that in place or want to sharpen it, yeah, that's a great time to figure out how can I launch my plan for 2024 now. Let's not wait till January the 1st. Have
Yep.
things in motion that you're moving forward now. And next Wednesday would be the prime opportunity to go do that. And I believe Brent Gove is going to be teaching that clinic, if I'm not mistaken, right? So what a great 4 hours to spend with energetic possibility. You're greater than you believe you are room, right? So that part will help drive you and give you the fuel if we're atrophying away, to give yourself the fuel to continue to go. But I agree with you 100%, Katey, is that events will drive revenue when we're intentional about the outcomes that we're looking for. And let's say that you go for 10 and you end up with 6, it's not a loss. It's 6 more than you entered the room with. Then you
Yep.
entered the
100%. 100%. For those of you that are, or if you're welcome to, fly to the Bay Area, but there, or even if you're not in the Bay Area, but you have friends that are in the San Francisco Bay Area that are real estate agents, please invite your friends to the business planning clinic. Brent Gove is teaching it in honor of Rick. And it's the Workman Success business planning workbook. Everybody walks away with it filled out, ready to go. So you have your plan done and rocking and rolling at very early, and so you can prepare, because as I said, we want to get the momentum going, because there is business to be had out there, and so we want to make sure this is the opportunity for the professionals to show up, and professionals have a business plan. So invite your friends, come, bring friends, fill up your car. If you are drivable, drive. If you want to fly, fly. If you are not, if you're way out of area and just have friends in the business that want to come, it's going to be awesome. I'm going to pack the house. Standing room only, right, Selena?
It's Brent asked us to double the room. It was 100 only. It's going to be 200. We're having it at a beautiful location. If anybody was at our April event, it's at the San Ramon Wedgwood location. If for anybody that was at that location, we did it at this one because the food was so amazing. I'm doing the same food as last time. So everybody raved about the food. And I can't promise Brent will be standing on chairs, but usually he stands on chairs. That's usually involved. I had to ask for extra sturdy chairs. It's going to be amazing. It is the Workman workbook on steroids, because Rick and I spent a lot of times last year ramping up the workbook. So it's a combination of what Rick has done over the last 40 years, right? It was the Workman book, and then, Rickized, Rickmanized, taking it up a notch over the years. So it's always really, really incredible. Brent's been studying that workbook for the last 2 weeks, making sure that he could do it justice. To make sure. I know initially he was like, oh, I could totally knock that out in about an hour. I was like, Rick does 5 hours.
Yeah.
So practice, study, come ready. So it's going to be incredible. I'm sorry, we are not doing it live stream. I know I'm getting a lot of questions privately in chat. We are not doing it live stream. It will be in person only. So I do have the digital copy. I will have it. We're going to finish it up today, making it 2024 version. So I can send that out digitally after we're done. For folks who do want it, I can send that out after we're finished, but we are not live streaming this year. I can't manage that on everything else that I'm currently managing. Normally I would, but cannot tack that on to the other things that's currently being handled.
Awesome. Does anybody have any questions of like, how do I do this? How do I invite people to the business planning clinic? How do I go to happy hour or a party or Starbucks with my ugly Christmas sweater on and turn How's the Market into an appointment? It's okay if I was at an event yesterday and I had 4 different people. We were having this conversation at lunch, and I had 4 different people say, how do I do that? What exactly does it look like? I know I gave a script, but I gave it really fast. So does anybody want to role play with me? Anybody have how do I do that?
Sure, I'll role play with you.
All right, Tom, you take yourself up. Are we going to see your beautiful face?
Sure, my beautiful face isn't so beautiful this morning because I'm at the gym, but all right, here you go.
Perfect.
All in all my morning glory.
No, I love it. So go ahead and ask me, how's the market?
So Katey, how's the market?
Hi, Tom. Nice to meet you at this holiday party.
Where's your drink?
Yeah, exactly. Cheers. Hey, you know, it really depends. Are you thinking about buying or selling or in our commercial real estate?
Well, we've thought about buying, but you know, interest rates are crazy now, and I think we missed our window. And you know, we wanted to buy, but we didn't. It just didn't work out. We got outbid, so now I think it's just too late. So I'm just curious. You know, are rates going to come down,
Well,
or am I
are
just
you
out of
currently
luck?
you're currently renting, Tom?
Mhm.
Okay, awesome. Well, hey, good for you for sticking your toe in the pond earlier by you know, making those offers and things. What there is a lot of misinformation, and there's a lot of new mortgage programs out there that may be of value for you. Can we schedule a time to sit down and talk about exactly what you're looking to do and timelines and what are some of the mortgage programs available? Do you have time tomorrow afternoon and
I'm
maybe
just
around
looking to
3?
buy a house. Do you do loans as well?
Well, I have a mortgage specialist that I work with, and so we work together to help people like you get into homes, because you know, owning a piece of the American dream is valuable. But I want to sit down and understand. I don't think, you know, here at the cocktail party, maybe not getting super deep into the technical aspects, but I do want to make sure that something is personal for you. Do you have time tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock? We can do a Zoom meeting.
I'm booked tomorrow.
All right.
But what is there even a possibility that rates are going to come down? Because we can't afford anything now.
Well, I don't have a magic wand, but we do have some programs available that can actually reduce your rate. But I want to talk to you about that with the mortgage specialist on the call, because that's their expertise. I want to make sure you're getting the right advice directly from the horse's mouth. Can we get together on Saturday, or is Monday better for you?
Um, Saturday I'm booked. Monday I'm out of town. Um, why don't you why don't you text me your information and I can get in touch with you next week?
Well, I already got your information. So let me text you your information, but I'm going to do this. Why don't we book, how early are you up in the morning?
Pretty early.
Okay. I'm up at 4:30 every day. So, are you up for a 6
Not
a.m.
that
call?
early.
Are you up for a 6 a.m. chat?
No, but I could do 9.
A 9 on Tuesday?
My mornings are pretty structured.
Okay, 9 o'clock Tuesday for 30 minutes.
Okay.
Perfect. Let me get your text info. Okay. You're tough, Tom. You're tough.
He was rough.
Yeah.
I would have given, I would have been, "Oh, okay, I'm out."
Well, at a cocktail party, you know, it's more, I mean, like to go at I just for me, at a cocktail party, I wouldn't close for an appointment. I close to get your information. But like, you know, to me, that's just that you're not giving me enough information to give you 30 minutes of my time. So I would, and it's hard to do that. And it's not your fault, Katey. That's just me. I'm just, you know, I'd want to, if I'm going to give you 30 minutes of my time, I want to know why. And obviously I already know that the market's tough. Interest rates are high. I can't afford anything. So what's the purpose of us getting on a call? If
But
you've got
I will,
something,
I thought about saying, do you know what the interest rate is on a rental property? Where you're renting? Do you know what the interest rate is?
yeah, it's 100%.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't make me be able to afford a home though. It's not a lack of desire to buy a home for me. It's a lot, you know, in this character I'm playing, obviously,
Right,
but
right.
it's a lot. It's that I can't afford it. You know, the reality is I slept, I missed my window, and I said that, you know, when we got outbid multiple offers, you know, when rates were more affordable a couple years ago, that's when I should have bought. That's when my agent should have said, look, you need to do anything that it takes to buy because you're going to get priced out because rates are going to go up. So now I'm feeling the buyer's remorse of not getting in a home. Right. And now I feel like I'm screwed. So, you know, I'm looking to you to say, well, Tom, you're not screwed, even though it feels like you are. You know, here's what we can do. That probably would have got you an appointment sooner.
Right.
But it's hard. For me, it's hard to do that at a cocktail party.
Yeah, I struggle with the like digging deep into the finances when I have no idea what their situation is.
Right. 100% agree, which is why it's, for me, it's difficult to book an appointment at a cocktail party, because you're there to celebrate. It's more about relationship building. And then to me, I would, hey, circle back and let's book the appointment later. Because to try to book me at a cocktail party, I feel like you're asking me to marry you when we just met. You know, I feel like let's get to know each other a little bit. You know, hey, why don't I give you a call next week and we can go from there?
I would say go for the appointment. At the very least, get their contact information.
And then ask them to marry you on the appointment.
Sure. Well, yeah, when you make the fall roll. I just hate doing the back and forth. I personally hate, I got your number, I call you, you call me back. It takes me 3 weeks to finally get in touch with you. And then it's like, now when did we meet again? Who are you? That's partly why I do it. So that's because I hate the back and forth thing. And so maybe I just need to,
As
you know,
do I. Well,
Yeah.
Katie, since I got you on the phone, let me ask you this. Regarding the NAR stuff with the buyer broker agreement, I've heard some of the top agents who do not use a buyer broker agreement. Others swear by it. You know, Brent, who we all know and dear and love him to pieces, he never used a buyer broker agreement. He was like, that's just why would you want to do that? You know, it's a matter of trust and contributing all that. I'm like, okay. And he sold thousands of homes. Others, you know, I've been burned by not using a buyer broker agreement. So I use one. But I've heard other even top producing ESP agents say, why would you want to put that negative in there, you know, at the beginning of the relationship? I'm like, well, it's not a negative. It's nothing more than a commitment. And you wouldn't take a listing without an agreement. Why is a buyer any different? So that's just a matter of perspective. But I believe we should. But I'm curious how this flows into the recent NAR lawsuit. I've been on so many coaching calls in the last 3 days and heard so many different schools on it. It seems like now is it required the buyer broker agreement in order to get paid, or is it that now the buyers are going to have to pay our fees? The buyers obviously already pay their fees in the sense that the money comes from the buyer, yet the actual commission agreement comes through the listing agreement from the seller. So I'm still not really clear what the bottom line on this, or is anyone really clear? Or if my question makes sense.
There's no bottom line yet because there haven't been any laws changed. It's a lawsuit that's been filed, and the judge says, and there's going to be appeals, and this is going to be.
Yeah, they were awarded $1.78 billion, and a lot of different brokers were named, and some, you know, settled out before they were named, you know, to protect their name. But you know, what this lawsuit basically means is that they were accused of inflating commissions. So now all realtors have a bad name, and all you greedy, blood-sucking realtors charge too much. So now we don't want to pay you at all. The bottom line, it seems like, you know, we still have, it's all about relationships, but so far the buyers are not going to be forced to pay our fees separate from what's in the listing agreement so far. So how does that so far it doesn't really change anything. We're just emphasizing best practices to get a buyer broker agreement signed.
Well, yeah, what we talked about earlier was best practice to start using the buyer broker agreement, and, you know, making sure that you're really clear with your own value and what your value is and what you provide to the buyers, and that you list a buyer as much as you list a seller.
Okay, so nothing has changed, and basically,
well,
if you're already using a buyer agreement.
There's too many. I mean, and also the judge hasn't come back. There's juries come up with all sorts of numbers and awards in lawsuits all the time, and then the judge comes back and says this is really what's going to happen. So we're not even at that phase yet. So I mean, and at this point, we don't have any control over what this judge does or doesn't do. We just have to start, you know, getting ahead of the game by just getting really, really comfortable with the buyer broker agreement, and making sure that we're really clear with our value when we are presenting the buyer broker agreement.
100% agree. 100% agree. Are we going to be doing more teaching of that, Selena or Katie, or is that just is that in BAM where we're going to be emphasizing that?
I think I will probably be doing more teaching on that as I mean, I've been teaching it since the dawn of time, but I will continue that teaching.
Cool. Thank you.
But much to everyone's chagrin. So.
No, that's good. It's not as that. No, I think it'd be good just to get a revision on that. So anyway, I just wanted to go back just because we've got a couple minutes. I know Selena and I both have a hard stop at the top of the hour, so we may finish 2 minutes early. So if we got to go refill our water cup, just the idea that I wanted you guys to just get wrapped around is that, and because of the lawsuit, people are going to be talking to us. And so again, it's personal. All these questions that people are asking us at holiday parties, at these events, are all personal questions. They want to know how it matters to them. And book the cup of coffee. Hey, I'd love to continue this conversation with you. Why don't we schedule a cup of coffee? Are you available tomorrow? Are you available the day after tomorrow? Whatever your schedule looks like. When they're thinking about buying or selling, I am a fan of booking the appointment. If it doesn't feel comfortable for you, you ask for the appointment and they say no, but they're going to give you your contact information, great. At the very least, get their contact information and put them in your database so that you are following up with them and they are part of your community for providing the amazing, amazing service and resources that you do for your clients every day. So this is the market to double or triple your database, because you're at the very least going to get people's contact information. And best case scenario, you're booking appointments for these people to walk through what's happening. This is also great for a reason to call your database. Guys, calling into your database and wishing them happy holidays. And what are your plans for Thanksgiving? Or what are your plans for Christmas? Or what are your plans for New Year's? What are you doing? Hey, I haven't been by and seen your house in a while. Love to come by and see what you've done. There's a great opportunity to go out and be visiting with our past clients, cleaning out your database, as well as adding new names to your database, because this is an awesome time of year to be deepening those relationships, events that drive revenue, and reconnecting with people out there in the marketplace. Okay. All right. If we don't have anything, I think we'll go ahead and wrap up 3 minutes early. It's all right. 3 minutes back. Those of us that are crazy people and do back-to-back Zoom meetings. So, all right. All right, everybody, thank you so much. We are gonna thank you for being here, and bring a friend. These are open to any agent of any brokerage. And the first and third Friday of the month, the free Friday coaching calls are continuing. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie. Thanks, Selena.
Bye, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.